The league is desperate to keep this transcript from leaking because it confirms everything we suspected about the unwritten rules of the WNBA. The directives are real, and they are targeting one specific player. By the end of this investigation, you will see why the referees were told to swallow the whistle and exactly which veteran stars were in the room when these orders were drafted. Take a look at this. This is the moment during the January training camp in North Carolina where a sitting WNBA referee was caught on a hot mic doing a private workout session. The audio was muffled, but the words are clear. The official tells a colleague that for the 2026 season, the point of emphasis is managing the gravity of number 22. That is not just basketball jargon. That is code for a league-wide mandate to allow physical escalation against Caitlin Clark under the guise of basketball integrity. We have the digital receipts from deleted Instagram stories and cryptic podcast clips that prove the league is actively engineering a more hostile environment for the face of the fever. The league is trying to keep this timeline quiet, but we are tracking every deleted post and every whispered directive. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications right now so you get the evidence before it is scrubbed from the internet. You are joining the investigation, and this is the only place where the receipts stay permanent. The spark that lit this fire happened during the high-stakes Commissioner Cup rematch against the Connecticut Sun. We saw the eye pokes and we saw the blindside shoves from Marina Mabrey, but it was what happened after the whistle that revealed the true agenda. According to a source close to the officiating crew, the technical fouls handed out to Clark were not for her language, but for her questioning the lack of protection. The official report from that night was scrubbed of any mention of the referee response to Stephanie White, but our investigation uncovered a deleted thread from a league staffer claiming that officials were told in a pre-game briefing to let the vets set the tone. This directive allegedly stated that if Clark is not bleeding, she is not being fouled. This is a level of physicality that would never be tolerated in the NBA, yet the WNBA is marketing it as a badge of honor for the league. To understand why 2026 has become a battlefield, we have to go back to the 2024 draft night snub and the subsequent Olympic roster drama. The tension between the old guard, led by legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, and the new wave of Clark and Angel Reese has shifted from a competitive rivalry to a full-scale Cold War. During a recent episode of A Touch More with Sue Bird, the subtext was loud. There was a conversation about the league DNA being gritty and the idea that star protection is an NBA concept that does not belong in the W. This is a direct shot at the marketing machine behind Clark. The veterans feel the league is being handed to a player who has not paid her dues, and they are using the officiating as a weapon of correction. They view her as a corporate product rather than a peer, and the referees are the ones holding the leash. The stakes reached a breaking point during the 2026 CBA strike negotiations. While the WNBA Players Association is presenting a unified front publicly, the private reality is a fractured locker room. We tracked the social media activity of several high-profile veterans who liked posts criticizing Clark's signature shoe launch while the league was struggling to agree on revenue sharing. The frustration is that Clark's individual success is skyrocketing, while the rank-and-file players are fighting for a living wage. This has created a culture of resentment where hard fouls are no longer just basketball plays, they are messages sent from the locker room to the front office. When Angel Reese went on her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, and spoke about sitting out if the CBA demands were not met, she was not just talking about money, she was talking about the perceived bias in how the league is being promoted. She explicitly mentioned that some players get the red carpet while others get the hardwood. We did a deep dive into the tunnel walks of the last 5 Fever games. In 2026, the tunnel walk has become a site of encoded messages. While Clark typically sticks to her brand partners, the veterans are using their pre-game appearances to signal their allegiance to the old guard. We saw specific color coordination and jewelry choices that mirrors the aesthetic of the strike organizers. It is a silent protest against the league's new direction. Even more telling is the body language during the jump ball. If you analyze the high-definition footage of the Fever versus Aces opener, you can see the officials standing closer to Clark than any other player. They are not there to protect her, they are there to monitor her reactions. A former referee who spoke on the condition of anonymity confirmed that there is a secret directive to give Clark a shorter leash on emotional outbursts than veteran players. This creates a double standard where she is targeted physically but penalized for the slightest retaliation. The unrivaled 3-on-3 league has only added fuel to the fire. With Paige Bueckers leading the Breeze BC and taking home massive equity stakes, the veteran players who were not invited to the inaugural rosters are feeling left behind. This has split the league into the haves and the have-nots. The veterans, who are still grinding in the WNBA during the summer and playing overseas in the winter, see Clark and Bueckers as the beneficiaries of a system they built but are now being pushed out of. This resentment is manifesting on the court through a lack of whistle. Our digital forensics team found a series of likes from a group of WNBA officials on a post discussing the toughness of the league in the 90s. It is clear the officiating core identifies more with the physical era of the past than the skill-based era of the future. This brings us to the most damning piece of evidence. During a post-game press conference that was cut short by league PR, Clayton Clark was asked about a specific non-call on a drive to the basket. Her response was a simple look toward the back of the room and a sigh. We synchronized that footage with the courtside microphones and caught a ref telling the Fever bench that she needs to learn how to play through it. This is the smoking gun. It is an admission that the standard for Clark is different than the standard for everyone else. The league wants the ratings that Clark brings, but they want to appease the veterans by allowing them to exert physical dominance without consequence. This creates a dangerous precedent where player safety is secondary to maintaining the league's image of toughness. The 2026 season is not just about who wins the trophy, it's about a power struggle for the soul of the league. We are seeing a coordinated effort to suppress the rise of the generational stars in order to maintain the status quo. But the receipts don't lie. From the leaked referee audio to the targeted social media activity, the evidence points to a deliberate campaign to make Clark's road as difficult as possible. The veterans have reportedly held closed-door meetings where they discussed the optics of allowing a rookie to dominate the scoring race. They call it protecting the brand, but it looks a lot like jealousy. We saw a deleted Instagram story from a star player in New York that showed a group of veterans laughing over a clip of Clark being shoved out of bounds. The caption simply read, "Weight room." This is the environment the league has allowed to flourish. When we look at the expansion teams like the Toronto Tempo and the Portland Fire, the vets being drafted into those organizations are already adopting the anti-Clark rhetoric. They see it as the quickest way to gain favor with the established stars of the league. It's a form of hazing that has gone corporate. The referees are caught in the middle. They are being graded on how well they manage the narrative, and right now, the narrative is that Caitlin Clark needs to be toughened up. This unwritten rule is becoming a liability. We have seen a 20% increase in hard fouls against Clark compared to any other guard in the league. The data is clear, but the league continues to deny any existence of a secret directive. They want you to believe it's just part of the game. But the 2026 CBA strike changed everything. When the players' union sat down to negotiate, they didn't just talk about salaries, they talked about the marketing of the league. Sources inside the room say the veterans were furious that 90% of the league's social media posts were focused on 3 players. They demanded that the league stop protecting these chosen ones and let the game be played the way it was in the past. This was the moment the secret directive was born. It was a compromise. The league would get their marketing assets, but the veterans would get a free pass to be as physical as they wanted on the court. It was a deal with the devil that has left Caitlin Clark as a target every single night she steps on the floor. If you analyze the podcast transcripts from Post Moves with Candace Parker, you can hear the legacy players talking about the lack of respect for the foundation. They don't mention Clark by name, but the target is obvious. They talk about the privilege of the new generation and the need for a reality check. This sentiment has trickled down to the referees. When a veteran star like Diana Taurasi speaks, the referees listen. When Clark speaks, they tell her to go back to the huddle. This is not just a sports story, it's a psychological battle for control. The league knows that if they lose the veterans, they lose the infrastructure of the WNBA. But if they lose Clark, they lose the new audience that is driving their valuation into the billions. Our forensic breakdown of the last 5 technical fouls against Clark revealed a pattern. Each one occurred after a sequence of uncalled fouls by the opposition team. It's a classic gaslighting technique. The player is subjected to constant physical pressure until they snap, and then they're the ones who are punished. The referees are acting as the enforcers of this system. We have seen clips of refs actually smiling after Clark is knocked down. This is not professional officiating. This is participation in a locker room vendetta. The deleted tweets from Clark's brother were not just emotional outbursts. They were a cry for help from someone who sees exactly what is happening behind the curtain. The 2026 FIBA World Cup roster selection was another flashpoint. There were reports that several veterans threatened to skip the tournament if Clark was given a primary role. The league and USA Basketball had to navigate a minefield of egos to keep the team together. This tension spilled over into the regular season. Every time Clark faces a teammate from the national team, the intensity is noticeably higher. It's a constant reminder that she is an outsider in a league she is helping to fund. The irony is that her presence is what allowed the league to expand to 16 teams and secure the record-breaking television deal. Yet the very people benefiting from that growth are the ones trying to tear her down. The tunnel walks tell the rest of the story. While Clark is being styled by top-tier fashion houses, the veterans are wearing shirts that champion the legends who came before. It's a visual representation of the divide. On one side, you have the future, and on the other, you have the past that refuses to let go. The secret directive is the past last stand. They are trying to prove that skill cannot survive in a league governed by brute force. But as the season progresses, the fans are starting to catch on. The boos for the referees are getting louder. The calls for accountability are becoming a roar that the league can no longer ignore. As we move into the playoffs, the secret directive is going to be tested. Will the referees continue to swallow the whistle when the whole world is watching? Or will the league finally intervene to protect its greatest asset? The veterans are already signaling that they are not going to back down. In a recent presser, Aja Wilson said that the playoffs are a different animal and that some people are going to find out the hard way. This is a direct warning. The soap opera of the 2026 WNBA is just getting started, and the next chapter is going to be the most explosive yet. If you think this is just about bad officiating, you are missing the bigger picture. This is a scripted drama being played out in real time, and we are the only ones holding the script. We are continuing to dig into the private group chats of the WNBPA to reveal who is actually leading the charge against the new wave. The names we found will shock you. Some of the most beloved figures in the game are the ones orchestrating the hit on Clark from the shadows. They are using their influence to ensure that the unwritten rules remain in place. In our next investigation, we are going inside the private group chats of the WNBPA to reveal who is actually leading the charge against the new wave. You do not want to miss the names we found. Click the video on your screen right now to see the truth about the secret meetings that changed the 2026 season forever. We have the screenshots and we have the timestamps. The league can try to scrub the internet, but they cannot scrub the truth. Stay tuned because the spill is about to get even messier.